Another situation literally came out of nowhere on Saturday. It was a picture posted on social media of Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, and Terence Crawford. And the aftershocks that this is sent through the boxing community are pretty substantial, because my brain right away went to, okay, will Oscar now represent Bud in a potential Spence negotiation? Now he has, Golden Boy behind him. He's got some footing behind him. That was my initial thought, optimistic, Dan. And then the layers start getting peeled back a little bit. And then you hear that, this photo was strategically posted. This meeting was strategically organized on the same night where Alexis Rocha was fighting. And I'm going to be honest. I've seen Alexis Rocha fight here and there. You're not someone that's really on my radar. Ranked 4th in the WBO. We'll get to that in a second. But now you have the DAZN team, Chris Mannix, who I like, and some of the DAZN socials really pushing Alexis Rocha as a potential opponent for Bud Crawford. All with the caveat that if Crawford gets past Rocha, which he will, he could potentially fight Virgil Ortiz in Dallas in the summer or the fall, which is a pretty fun fight. But it's not the fight that we want. It's not Crawford Spence. This is a saga that's playing out right in front of our eyes.
Saga is not the S word that I would use for this in terms of what I think about this whole situation. So we got Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford is the pound for pound, one of the pound for pound kings.
He's the top. He's on the Mount Rushmore today.
100%. So we are negotiating a fight against an undefeated kid that most people haven't heard of. Who
he has really one loss.
He
lost to Rashidi Ellis.
Okay, even worse. So yeah, exactly. I don't know this. That's how little that this makes sense. And who stylistically, I've watched his fights. It's just a terrible matchup. It's the guy does not belong in with the elite of the elite right now. Fighting Bud Crawford for the chance to fight Virgil Ortiz. What is that? That's not the fight we want. So you're teasing what could be for a fight that we don't really want anyway. We want Spence and Crawford. We don't like if Crawford and Ortiz. Cool fight. We like it. But that's not the fight we want.
Right.
So teasing a fight that we don't want in order to get a fight that is B compared to what we really want is mid, as Ronnie super producer would say.
I think mid. We're not allowed to say it anymore. I think mid is done.
Mid's done. Oh,
yeah.
See, I'm old. I've aged out.
I've started saying it too, and I get looked at in the office like, stop saying it.
Well, that's why, because once you said it in the office, you're the old guy. Now it's out.
Exactly.
So whatever. But yeah, no, I don't like any of this. This Crawford Rocha Ortiz. I like the Ortiz Crawford idea, but listen,
right, the timing of it. Right.
I'm not over the Spence Crawford situation. I think a lot of people have moved on. It's not going to happen. I know it's not. I know, but I still I don't know. It's hard to get excited for fights that are not massive. If we're talking about Bud Crawford.
The reasoning for it is, if you want to get technical, the WBO welterweight rankings are as follows. Crawford is the champ. Number 1 is Thurman. Number 2 is Ortiz. Both of those guys have fights coming up. Thurman is rumored to be fighting Errol Spence, I think maybe in June. And Virgil Ortiz is fighting Stanionis. So that means Rocha is next in line. He's going to be named the mandatory for the WBO. I know, it's all nonsense, but this is the rationale that they're using. And I'm trying to think on why Bud Crawford would sign with Golden Boy. His whole thing with Spence was, I'm my own boss. I'm going to BLK Prime. I'm making $10 million to fight David Avanesian. Spence, you're not your own boss. You say you are, but we all know you're going to be fighting Thurman, who you said you're not going to fight. So therefore, that makes, I think, Bud look silly. Is because now he does have a boss. It's going to be Oscar De La Hoya, and you're going to be fighting Alexis Rocha, and I think that the Ortiz fight would be like insurance if they don't get the Spence fight. Because that's what I think how Oscar's looking at it. Oscar's looking at it as, we'll have him fight one of our guys in Rocha. That's an in-house Golden Boy fight now. It can propel Rocha if he puts on a good performance. Easy fight for us to make. Obviously, the next fight would be a fight with Ortiz, should he get past Stanionis, which is not easy. Or Oscar says, you know what? Now I can go to the drawing board with Bud for a Spence fight. I can see why Golden Boy would do this. It makes sense from Golden Boy's standpoint. Don't think it makes much sense from Bud's standpoint. Like, why didn't Bud sign a 2-fight deal with PBC? If he really wants a Spence fight, unless Golden Boy's giving him like an insane amount of money. I don't know the inside deals there, but you would think that Crawford would sign with PBC on a 2-fight deal to make the fight even easier to get with Spence.
Well, the moves that Bud's making are money moves. He's not making the path to the Spence Crawford fight easier.
He's not making legacy moves, you're saying. He's making money moves.
Right. He's making money moves, not legacy moves. So his last fight, the Black Prime, listen, we all know that Black Prime wasn't going to be able to pay $10 million multiple times a year for these kind of guys. So he didn't really have a leg to stand on there after that one fight. He took that one off. I get it. I've done the same thing with some of these new promotions that came into town, throwing a bunch of money around. You get it while it lasts.
Yeah.
That was that situation with Bud. So he's got to move on from there. So why would he sign with Golden Boy? Obviously, it's money. Because if you really wanted to make the Spence fight, just like you said, you do a 2-fight deal with PBC. But Oscar's probably offering more money. Or Crawford is thinking longer term, I can do this and then do that and make the money compounded on both ends. But we'll see how it plays out. But definitely money moves, not legacy moves.
He already told us, like, straight up, like, if I retire today, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm a 3-division world champion. I'm happy with my legacy. That's fine. That's him. But, like, the fans think otherwise. But yeah, I could see why Bud would do this too, because he fights Rocha, gets paid handsomely. He has the Ortiz fight in his back pocket. He could fight Ortiz and maybe win that one, maybe not, and then can always go back to Spence next year, which is insane. Because I said if this fight Spence Crawford didn't happen in 2022, I thought it was a failure. Now we're looking at 2023 not happening, and now we're going into 2024. Bud's like 38 at that point. Definitely not going to be at 147. I'm so tired of talking about this fight, but also like this threw like a wrench into everything, and now having Oscar involved and Bud going to Golden Boy and what it all means, and so now Thurman is fighting Spence and Bud is fighting Rocha. It's just like
Just like and we spoke on both of these enough. Let's
want to move on.
Move on.